Sierra Leone, we continue the conversation on human rights, governance, democracy, and politics as political parties prepare ahead of the country's 2028 general elections. In the studio this morning to discuss these issues, we have Alphonsus Gbanie, who is the Executive Secretary for the Human Rights Defenders Network, Sierra Leone. Alphonsus, it's always a pleasure having you in our studios.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good morning.
We are similarly to expecting a second guest in the person of Melvin Tijan Mansari, who is a media and political analyst. He will soon join us in the studio this morning to of course, add his voice on the issues we shall be discussing. Alphonsus, it's quite well-packed into politics, governance, among other things, ahead of the country's 2028 elections. But quickly, yesterday marks the second day, and it marks the wrap-up of the town hall meeting. Yeah, it's a town hall meeting that were held in Kenema districts, wherein the president was supposed to have, of course, participated. The question is, are you worried about the continued silence of the president on issues bordering life and livelihoods of the people of Sierra Leone?
Yeah, thank you. Of course, I'm worried, and it's a very serious concern. And it's unfortunate that the president did not turn up to the town hall meeting. I don't know whether it was not properly planned or it was probably there were unforeseen situation or urgent matters of state interest that not making to attend the town hall meetings. But it's really becoming very serious. The president not or deliberately refusing to talk to the people of this country about their livelihood, the economic situation, and in fact, the time bomb we are seated on now as we speak. And one of a recipe for chaos in this country, for another conflicts in Sierra Leone, is land-related issues. And the president still remains silent. Some of his state officials are out there grabbing people's land, people's property. And some of the people he appointed in these various MDAs are also busy, hijacking or commandeering people's property, land. He still remains silent. The critical bombshell we have to face in the near future, if it is not managed well, there will come a time people will no longer bear the pain or to say, in quote, I left the case to God. They will resist. And we have received over 50 cases of land-related matters in our office that involve state officials, that involves MDAs. And I think if the president don't have the time to sit and to discuss or to engage people that will give him the true picture of his governance system in this country, then I'm afraid he's building, he's grooming discontent to an extent that he will not manage before he leaves his office.
Alphonsus, help us understand the current state of human rights generally in country. What's the current state? Are we making progress? Is it deteriorating?
We are making progress on paper, that's for sure. And I will call the current government, President Bio himself, for making sure that we have progressive laws. This GUI, the Land Commission, the land rights, women now can own property, they can own land. these are progressive laws, which we commend. We commended him for that, and even the repeal of the death penalty, or the repeal of the seditious and criminal libel of the Public Order Act, which is Part 5. Those are all progressive actions. But you know, it is good to have the progressive laws. But it is as bad in a way that you don't practice, people don't enjoy those progressive laws that you are passing. And so, one would say, in fact, there was no need to have these progressive laws, because if you have the laws and people don't enjoy the fundamental rights prescribed in those laws, it's as useful as nothing. And so therefore, even though we commended him and his government in the passing of progressive laws, we think there are a lot of challenges. A lot of people are grumbling because they are not enjoying their rights, their fundamental rights. And I've made reference to one critical asset that people believe they have, which is land. And land is a critical asset in this country. A number of people live on land. And if the government could not address, he has made the land commission. They have established the land commission. They have given right to women to own property, to own land. But if they're not enjoying it, I don't think it was necessary to even establish a land commission. It was not necessary to even have land reforms in this country. And so, in as much we have the hardware of our human rights, which is the laws, the acts, the laws they have passed, the software are part of it, where people enjoy the enjoyment of those rights. I think that's where we are missing the point. And I think the president needs to step up.
Before we come to discuss about the inter-party violence, now in your view, I would want for you to paint us a picture of the state of affairs of the country presently.
Well, the country presently, we are living, how will I say, in quotes, like, we are like magicians. Yes, we know you play magic, because there are people who earn something like 1,000 leones, but what they eat and where they live and how their transport they spend for the month is almost 2,000. So you start to ask, where is this person getting the extra money to ensure that they live a moderate standard of living within a month? So you tend to ask, how is it happening? And so that's the area where we are, and that's the dilemma where people live in this country. And we also rely on hope that tomorrow will be better. When tomorrow comes, because tomorrow will never come, because today we say it's tomorrow. When today happens to be tomorrow, it's tomorrow again, and tomorrow will never come.
So it's an ongoing.
So it's an ongoing. So therefore, and that is why they keep using this word, that the Sierra Leonean people, we are resilient.
We're resilient people.
Yes, and that's what has been misused by them. It's not because people are resilient. We are not resilient because we want to give them the opportunity. We are resilient because there is no way people can go out again to say, enough is enough. So people will resort to faith that we left.
So you're saying our freedom of expression has been limited?
Yeah, it has been limited. Nobody will go out to the street to say we demonstrate. Nobody will go there because they will say the next time you will hear people, the police, our regime police. For now, we have the Sierra Leone People's Party Police as we speak. When there's a change of government, the party that comes is the name that we give to the police. That's how the police have been created, even though they have changed the name. But the fact is, the moment you go right now, you want to demonstrate on issues related to the livelihoods in this country, or even on the burning issue now on land matters, you want to demonstrate. As long as that is not in the favor of government, police will never give you the permission to demonstrate. They will never allow you.
Before we maybe come to that, I want for us to maybe look a little into the intra-party violence, of which I did mention. Now we've been seeing reports of the intra-party violence of the ongoing lower-level election now. Is this something we should be worried about or concerned about as we're approaching the general elections?
Of course. If somebody is fighting in his house, a household, they keep on fighting in that house, there is all likelihood that what they are doing in their house, when they go out, they will continue the fighting outside the street. So that is why inter-party conflicts will transcend beyond their inter-party at the national level. So it's a concern to us. If they could not manage at the party level, where we call it as their own family, which is a family, they cannot manage it. When they interface with their opponent, what do you think will happen? If you cannot manage something within your family, you come in contact with somebody else's family, you will consider the worst. And that is why we are concerned. We think this lower election should be conducted in a more peaceful manner. It is because most of these politicians, they have seen that the situation now that when you go to governance, you handle positions. That is your time you can enjoy your money. It's what Michel wrote in Kenya, it's our turn to eat. So everybody is trying to get his or her own turn to eat. So that is why you see the level of violence. Because if you are going there to serve, you will see people don't fight. But you are going there not only to be served, but to earn money. And so that is why people are doing everything it takes for them to control their power, to get position that they can use to influence whosoever is going to take governance system, so that they can get their own share of the cake of this country.
Alphonsus, you spoke of hardware and software in terms of laws and what's the realities on the ground. But again, I want to draw attention to what many will want to consider as progress being made over time in terms of efforts being put in place by government. Just yesterday, we listened carefully from the country's chief minister, who said that electricity supply in country has grown from where it was, like 2 times from the level where it was. Again, the governments seem to have showed massive interest in their support to agriculture in country with its feed salon initiative. And also at the international level, a lot of accolades seem to have come in, seem to have been showered on Sierra Leone as a result of the modalities that are put in place in country, Alphonsus. Don't you see same as an improvement?
You know, it is difficult, you know, to paint a picture of yourself when you know that if you are ugly, you want to make yourself beautiful. We are all living in this country. You know, I always say this: when the government, did something that is correct and good, there is no way we have to hide it. We have made mention of the progressive law they have passed, which is very good, and we supported them. I personally voted for Amanda Bio because I have the conviction. I don't belong to any of the political parties, but many times I vote based on the way you present yourself. Amanda Bio presented himself that he's going to fight corruption, indiscipline, and lawlessness. These were the key things to me that affects this country.
Are you so far satisfied with
and so therefore,
has dealt with same?
I am coming because the question you ask, I really want us to put it in perspective. Okay. You see, we know for sure that they are doing a lot of things. They have passed progressive laws. And that's why I talked about the hardware and the software. When you talk about hard laws, if you are doing international law or whatever law, these are constitutions, these are the hard laws. That is covenants, constitutions, you know. The soft laws are like policies. So when you want to put that into context, you will now use the hard laws, the hardware, in terms of progressive law. The soft aspect is the enjoyment of those laws. So I just want to coin it in a different way so that people will understand. Now, let's take the case of the former Chief Justice, Babatunde Edwards. He did a lot of reformation within the judicial system, right? The infrastructure, you see it there. The changes, the enumeration of judges and clerks, magistrates and whatsoever. But it is not the Chief Justice that is going to sit on that bench to give judgment. It is the magistrates, the judges themselves that we see. So that's where that's the soft component, the interpretation of the law, giving meaning to law. It is no longer the Chief Justice. So you can have very good structure. You can have all the facilities, equipment, stationaries and whatsoever. But the interpretation of the law, giving meaning to law, it is no longer the Chief Justice, it is an individual person. So how would that person give meaning to law for people to enjoy that if this person is really right, they give him or her the right. If you are wrong, they give you the wrong, that you are wrong. But if that one is not balanced, it's not equivalent to the infrastructural revolution or changes or development, then you find it's also very difficult to enjoy the judicial system. And so that I'm bringing this for you to understand the perspective where I'm coming from. So even though you have progressive law, you have those accolades you are referring to. I don't know yet because you need to be more specific so that I can understand. But if you are even referring to the accolades, how are those accolades, those changes do reflect on the lives and livelihood of citizens? How are those accolades or changes do reflect on people's access to justice? I started giving you instances about the time bomb we are. And I'm calling it time bomb because you go around, right around this country, everywhere you go, land is becoming contentious.
Are you satisfied with the judicial system, Mr. Leone?
If I'm satisfied, I will not say I'm satisfied, but I think there is some progress in the changes, because you know the TRC report also mentioned that one of the problem that created the war, that led to the war, was access to justice. So we have seen some improvement in the judiciary, enumeration, even though it is not to that extent. The state needs to do more to make sure that the justice system, that judiciary, judges and magistrates will dispense justice without even influence. Because when you give them proper enumeration, I think they will use their conscience. Because dispensation of justice is not only giving meaning to law, but you also have to give conscience. You also have to introduce your own conscience as to how you give meaning to law. We have seen in this country, the practical example was the case of former president and his vice president. He sacked the vice president. The matter was taken to court. The judges at that time said the president was right. They did not give meaning to law, and they did not act in their own conscience. It was wrong, technically. And so the interpretation of the law should not be for the convenience of judges and for the convenience of political parties or powers that be. Because the only institution that is not answerable to anybody in this country but to the Constitution is the judiciary. They're not even answerable to the president. They're answerable to the Constitution. And so they should give meaning to the law by interpreting it. But when they interpret it in a way that reflects political bias, they have undermined the very essence of their own existence.
Is that similar to the Auditor General and the Deputy's situation?
That is also another practical example. The parliament that is also supposed to protect the citizens. If you cannot have access to justice within the judiciary, you are being oppressed or suppressed by the executive. Your other resource where you can rely for protection is parliament. If parliament could also kick out, our Auditor General, they voted her out and a deputy. That tells you how this country, where we are. That's a practical example of also how we can hold our state institutions or those that are in power accountable. If the government, because to me, personally, I keep saying it, there is no way at any point in time, even the layman, I don't think even the crazy man will assume. I'm bringing it in a way so that let people believe, understand the joke and the content. There is no way for a reasonable man to assume that President Madabio, our own president, will go and pay for hospital bills or for hotels by himself.
Because he has
people.
He has people.
Exactly. So if the auditor identify some malpractices within the office of the president in relation to that regard, the president himself should not be angry with the auditor. He should be angry with those people that created the embarrassment for his office. But now, those people are enjoying themselves. The auditor has gone. The issue has never been addressed. It has not been. Nobody has been held accountable in the office of the president for creating that international embarrassment for us. If the president is not embarrassed, for us as a nation, it's an embarrassment.
Alphonsus, are you so pleased with the manner at which the tripartite process is going on in the country?
To me personally, I hate to refer to that tripartite because when you say tripartite, it's just like APC, SLPP, and some international partners. It is not APC and SLPP. They are not the only parties in this country. So if you are talking about electoral system, you just don't pick two political parties because they are in the majority, and you leave the rest behind. And so to me, it was not a fair play to address the issue of electoral justice system in this country, leaving all other political parties. So if they had wanted to discuss electoral systems and processes, they would have brought in all other political parties, whether small or whatsoever. Their own views and opinion could also be could play a very important role. They can give some information that even these two big political parties don't even have. And besides, it is these two big political parties that have wrecked this country, that are creating chaos. The electoral system don't have any problem. It has no problem. The only problem we have, it is SLPP and SLPP. When SLPP is in power, they will find ways to thwart or to even twist the system of the electoral process to suit them or to continue in power. If APC was in power, they do the same.
So you're saying
the
it's
system,
an internal...
Yes, yeah, it's a party issue. They are creating the problem. The laws are there. They are just trying to manipulate the laws. The laws has no problem.
In your view, how prevalent are human rights violations in this context of these elections?
For the inter-party elections,
yeah.
I would say it is high, because if you can see whether where they are attacking, stabbing people, injuring people are suffering from serious wounds and whatsoever. There was a time even my son was stabbed in Kono. My late brother's son. He was stabbed in Kono. There was a video going around. But I deliberately refused to associate myself, even to go to Kono, even to call the police or even ask. I deliberately refused because I have a principles. I have a principle that I have to maintain and follow. And so, when you go into politics, you receive the payment from politics. So if you are used as a thug to go and advocate, you are injured, let the party solve that issue for you. It's not my own take. But it tells you that the intra-party, we are not seeing, politics should be a way of, just bringing people together and making a choice. It should not be a situation where it's a do or die, that if I don't get it, you should not get it. And if I don't get it, nobody else should get it. Or I should make sure that I get it at all costs. If we remove that system, looking at elections as a mirror, that I'm going for election, but when I look at you, I see myself in you. Then when you look at me, you see yourself in me. Then I will hesitate to even hurt you, because I'll be thinking that I'll be hurting myself. And so if we have that thinking, we will conduct election in this country. Nobody will even know that we have elections. But because the governance system have there is a different mentality of how we see the governance system. In other countries, in other civilized nations, you make money, you become millionaire when you're in the business sector. But that's the reverse for us in Sierra Leone. You don't make money when you're in business, you make money when you're in governance. And so that is why people are fighting. Because if you go there to serve, and as a poor person, we will see we will be sitting here, if our brother there, I'm not just making it for anyway, but if there's a government, a change of government, I know this gentleman, he'll be wearing it, I know this shoe, I know the car he's driving, and they give him appointment. In less than 2 months or 3 months, you will see him changing cars. In 1 year, you will see him building houses. So you start to ask yourself, oh, I know this man, we'll be living together, but he has ABCD cars, ABC houses. So that tells you,
the doubt.
Yes, that people are fighting because we, the citizens, have given them the opportunity to go and eat the cake without being held accountable. And so that is why when you see, if SLPP is leaving now, and another party, let's say Party B, comes into power. Now Party B wants to investigate those people that were in governance and telling the ACC that you have to check for corruption practices. Yeah, and so when they start investigating, the supporters of SLPP now will say it is a witch hunt. And that is not a witch hunt. If you are not in that position of trust as a public servant, ACC has no reason, or a new government has no reason to go after you to come and account. It is because you have a responsibility, you are handling a public office. If I'm doing business, Party A comes in, Party B takes over governance, they will not come and meet me because I don't control state resources. And so we should see the fight against corruption not from a political lens, but from a human rights perspective. And so because the governance, the new government has a responsibility, so it is our responsibility to ask you to come and give account of your stewardship. So that is not a political witch hunt. It is a human, because for every time there is a misuse of resources in the agricultural sector, people starve for food. At any time there's misuse of resources in the health sector, women are dying, children are dying, people don't have access to health. For any time there is a misuse on road funds, you have vehicle accidents every now and then. So every sector, that is a human rights concern.
Alphonsus, a lot seems to be happening in Parliament. Quite recently, we just noticed the main opposition, All People's Congress Party, APC, they've suspended their operations and activities in Parliament. Will you want to speak to same?
I think they suspended their action at a time that is not even relevant at a particular time, because I see no reason why APC, at the time when they were discussing the Auditor General's situation, they could have boycotted, they could have left Parliament. And it surprised me to even see APC members of Parliament voting alongside SLPP members of Parliament in Parliament to remove the Auditor General and the Deputy from office. It surprises me. And so to me, if APC are leaving now, they are leaving because of that could be personal reasons. And I don't think it's of a national interest, because they have to look at what is going on at the nation, what they are discussing, that's of a national value. That's the time they have to show solidarity to the people of this country. That we are with you, even though we are in the opposition. We will leave, we will move out, because we don't think this one is of a national interest. They have all it takes to have left Parliament, to have walked out of Parliament in the deliberation or in the voting of to remove the Auditor General from office. It's unfortunate. So if they are stepping out of operations or whatsoever, that could be personal. I don't think it's of a national interest. It's more of a political interest.
Just for clarity, from according to what the minority leader said, he did mention that the Clerk of Parliament, by his terms of reference as per his job, is a public servant, and as such, as per the Constitution, he should not be serving as the clerk of parliament and at the same time vying for critical position in his political party, the Silent People's Party. And as such, it seemed more like a violation of the ground norm of the law of the land, which is the constitution.
That's why I said it is a political interest, it's not of national interest.
Okay.
I've just got it short. Look at the issue of the clerk of parliament having an appointment. What has that got to do with or will affect the nation? This is a personal issue, and this is a procedural issue within parliament. You get me right? If you take the issue of the Auditor General, why should they stay in parliament to vote against the Auditor General? Now they are now working out of parliament because the clerk of parliament is taking appointment on other issues that it's conflict with the constitution. It's a disgrace. I don't think APC as a party should be bringing this on flimsy excuses.
But I suppose you are a defender of the constitution.
No, I'm coming. I want to put it.
And if a critical section in the constitution is being violated, it is but prudent for a human rights defenders. I know you. So of course
you are probably missing the context.
Okay.
We are a defender of the constitution, and everybody else in this country.
Don't you see I'm coming. As a breach of
I'm coming. Whether it's a breach, the action of the APC party, opposition party in parliament, is not of a national interest. It's of a political interest. They failed to do what is of a national interest at the time when they were debating and voting to relieve the Auditor General from office. That's the national issue. And so this one is more of a political interest than of a national interest.
With that being said, it's time we go for
quickly
sports.
Before we join Ransford Macklin for sports, would you speak to Sam about the grievance or the concerns that there is with regards to the two districts and that of the transitioning or transformation of Lungi to a new city?
That one also is a political interest. You remember when Anes was in power, the former government, when we have Karine and Falaba, we are saying there is no need to. They are dividing. They are making this decision because they want to have more seats in parliament, creating more opportunity for people to go into parliament. There is no reason to have Freetown to be divided into another district. We cannot even manage the district that we have. We cannot even support this existing district that we have as a nation. You are still separating it up to as we speak. There are still some challenges in Falaba and Karine. There are still challenges. And so why are we pushing forward to have other districts? That's why I said SLPP and APC, these are the two political parties that have wrecked this country. We have the number of parliamentarians that we have in parliament compared to what the wage bill, to what they are spending. To me, it's not even necessary. We don't even need to have 127 parliamentarians in parliament.
I have hope that Sierra Leone will be a progressive nation. I have hope until, what we build on that hope is when we change our perception and our mentality, particularly we, the citizens. We need to change our orientation and using our, not through fights, not through war, not through demonstration, but just our mentality. Once we change our mentality, we, the citizens, including those in governance, because when you look at our national pledge, there is nothing that speaks to political party. I pledge my love and loyalty to my country, Sierra Leone. But when they are in power, they pledge their love and loyalty to their political party. If they change that orientation, Sierra Leone really is a paradise.